Okay.
Fantastical. Okay. I'll
Let's
see you
have the same
gentlemen in a mo.
conversation again.
Yeah, not the same conversation. Here we go. And it's another day, another wonderful way of starting a fabulous day with Jenni Baxter in Antibes in France. Of course, I'm Melanie Walker here in Johannesburg, and we're talking about what is the news when it comes to South Africans, not just at home in South Africa, but also around the world. And a very warm welcome. Jenni's in a lovely T-shirt, and I'm wrapped up in a very warm, woolly jacket. How the tables have turned. How are you doing?
I know. I'm doing really well. How are you? Happy Africa Day.
Oh, is it Africa Day today?
It's Africa Day. So it's clearly not a public holiday in South Africa.
No. Well, happy Africa Day, everybody, all the Africans, and keep that African spirit going. That's all we can say. So what is happening with South Africans? I mean, especially the news that you've had coming up on your site in the last week or so.
Oh, so much. I see you've got the German Chancellor in South Africa at the moment. I think he just finished off yesterday. There are just so many countries sort of meeting with South Africa at the moment and trying to improve relations and investing to help business. So there's a lot of positive stuff. There's obviously the floods. I mean, someone said this is like a sequel to a horror movie because, they already had the most horrific floods just last month and then again this weekend. And they're, one of the many organizations and people that have stepped in is the Australian High Commission, who have, and they're very clever. They have this kind of direct program that they can just feed money straight through to the recipients, and they are doing it straight to Gift of the Givers. So they met with Dr. Suleiman, and it's going to go towards helping to rebuild a lot of those schools that got destroyed. So thank you, Oz.
Yeah, thank you to Oz, and thank you for stepping up and making sure that the money goes to the right place. And thank you, of course, to Gift of the Givers, who, I mean, we can never kind of praise them enough, quite frankly, doing all the stuff that our government should be doing. So let's just hope that continues. But I mean, it's like, no, we sit there and you say it's like the second kind of part of a horror movie, like monkeypox going on around the world.
Oh, no.
But at least it's not in South Africa.
No, confirmed, not in South Africa. Someone just sent me a video of a guy whose face is a monkey saying, this monkeypox, you must take it seriously, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, no.
Oh, dear. But anyway, it's not nearly as infectious and there's no...
Well, it has to get in through cuts and things, so it's not like airborne or, touching borne. Oh, really? Okay, so there we go. That's the stuff that's happening here in South Africa. What news have you got for expats around the world?
Not happening. Well, quite a bit happening at Mount Everest right now. So last week, Remy Kloos, do you know that organization that is at the Ponte?
Yeah, Ponte Towers. Lalanje, yeah.
Thank you. They raise money. They do interesting walks and everything, and then when you buy that, it raises money for children to have a safe learning environment. Kids in the city who would, otherwise be on the streets. So
I went and worked with them a couple of years ago on Mandela Day, and we went and actually cleared up the area so we could put a garden together at the bottom of Ponte, and they were like so involved in making it a safe environment for kids. It's great.
It's such a great thing. And so what Remy's done is she's on a campaign to raise funds for them. And so she just became the very first South African to ever summit both Mount Everest, which is the highest mountain in the world, and Mount Lhotse, which is the fourth highest and kind of nearby. She did both of them in 24 hours.
Oh my nerves, no.
I can hardly run up my staircase twice. And so it's like amazing. And she's the first South African female to ever summit Mount Lhotse as well.
Well done, Remy. That's absolutely awesome. Sheesh, that's quite a mission. I have no desire to go and climb tall mountains. I don't like heights and I don't like cold, so that's not going to happen. I have no desire to do Kili or any of those things.
No. And then, well, you might want to do this. Is Pierre Carter, so also a South African. He just became the first person to legally paraglide off Mount Everest. So that
There's
was
a problem with that again, Jenny.
week
You have to go
ago.
up the mountain where it's cold and it's high. Okay. No.
Oh, maybe you can get a helicopter to drop you there, and then you paraglide off.
Yeah, I do that. That I'd be quite happy to
Yeah.
do. Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
that would be cool. So, but he's not the first person to do it. I think 3 other people have already done it. But he's the first one to legally do it, which means he had to ask for permission and pay like $36,000 for the permission, which did include food. Yeah, but well done to him as well.
Well done to all of these people who are mad enough to go and climb mountains. I know that I interviewed Robie Kotzen not too long ago after he'd broken his legs completely, and he's also raising money to go and do something for South Africa on another climb as well. So I'll keep you updated with that one too. But
And Pierre was also raising money, but he was also very good because he said he knows right now South Africans have a few other things that they want to raise money for, rather than just a guy who wants to go live an adventure.
Yeah. So rather give the money instead of asking for money. That's not a bad idea. Okay, but one thing that is very much closer to my heart, of course, it's Chelsea Flower Shows on this week. And I'm going to be, as soon as we're done here, I'm going to be rushing off to go and watch it on BritBox, because I found out yesterday that, you can watch stuff on BritBox. And I was like, I remember the days of sitting and watching, what was it in those days, BBC Prime. And they used to have every day, the televised stuff that was coming from the BBC about what was happening at Chelsea with Alan Titchmarsh and Dermot Gavin and all those people talking about it. And we haven't been able to see that recently. People seem to have lost the thrill of gardening, but I'm quite sad to see that for the first time in over 50 years, I think it is, that South Africa has not sent across an exhibit.
I know. So the Kirstenbosch Botanical Gardens weren't sponsored this year, unfortunately. I checked it up, and in 2019, they had won gold for South Africa for 37 years running.
Yeah.
I mean, they were phenomenal. So it's greatly sad that they're not there. But as I was telling you just before the show, the great news, though, is that it's actually South Africans who have sponsored this, I think Chelsea Flower Show is one of the most famous flower shows in the world.
It is the famous, yes.
So it's pretty spectacular that it's South Africans, and it's Koos Becker, who's the chairman of NASPERS, and his partner Karen Ruas, who was the editor of Elle magazine. And I think that they have Babylon, I can't pronounce it.
Babylon's Turin.
They have that, and so they've taken something very similar to that concept to Somerset in England, and it's called the Newt, which is some little bug in the river there, and they have these amazing gardens. They have a bee hotel where you can really learn the importance of bees. And they have some shows themselves at the Chelsea Flower Show. So if anybody does go from
Send
London,
us pictures.
yeah, definitely.
But it was World Bee Day last week as well. We didn't even talk about. I'm not talking about a bee day like you have in France. Okay, I'm talking about the actual World Bee Day. So I'm so glad that people are looking after the hardest workers on our little planet here. But it is really sad.
Did you see Viv? Sorry. Yeah? No, just talking about bee days. I don't know if you saw Viv for Mark woke up this morning.
And I saw she's been prepping.
Yeah,
and she prepped with everything and forgot to prep in hoarding toilet paper.
Yeah.
I mean, Viv, really, come on now.
And her car's broken down and her driver's license is expired, so she can't rent a car, so she's stuck at home with no loo roll.
We'll just have to go and throw toilet paper over the wall to her. Yeah. Oh, goodness me, she just make me laugh. And by the way, just talking about Babylon's Turin, if you ever want to, if you haven't been there, it's down in the Western Cape, Nestlebosch. If you haven't been there, then Monty Don, when he was out in South Africa, he went there and he did a lovely video about the place. So you can always go and enjoy it. I mean, Monty Don is he's one of my heroes, okay? I love everything he's done around the world in 80 Gardens. His shows on the telly overseas, and you can get it all on YouTube and whatever. Fantastic, really worthwhile watching. And I would
great.
say just go and have a look at the gardens there. All right, but anyway,
Yeah.
what have we got in the way of news from expats?
We've spoken before about the what is it? The Youth for Coding. Remember when they broke a record and got over 10,000 students learning this coding when you don't have a computer and you play with these games, rangers and tanks. It alerts some South African expats who are so supportive. And it turns out that the vice president of Amazon, one of the vice presidents of Amazon, is a guy called David Brown, who is a South African expat. So he became involved, and then he announced this weekend through a Zoom call to two very lucky young, I think year 7 learners, that he's personally going to sponsor them to go to a beautiful new school, I think Alexander Road High School, for high. So that's sort of changing their futures. Just fabulous. So thank you to him, and obviously always thank you to Prof. Jean Greyling, who raises awareness and is part of this campaign.
Okay, fantastic.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
So there's that. And then, I don't know if you saw Trevor Noah went to Switzerland. So it's long been his dream because, his father is Swiss, yeah. And his mother's obviously South African. And he wrote some lovely things just about how, the only other guy he knows is Roger Federer, who has one South African parent and one Swiss parent. So the two of them sort of have similar genes, and Roger Federer actually showed Trevor Noah around Switzerland, and
lovely. Just very
really
sweet.
nice, very, very nice, yeah. And then this morning and last night we have news of Princess Charlene, who's down the road from me here in Monaco. A beautiful picture where she's just looking fabulous and very fashionable. So she went to the Chelsea to the Monte Carlo Fashion Week Fashion Awards show last night with her daughter. So one of the very first outings, just the two of them. Dressed up her daughter beautifully, a stunning photo. They both look beautiful. She said how wonderful it was preparing her daughter for the evening, and her daughter just looked so happy. And then this morning, the newspapers here are reporting, she spoke to them very rarely last night and just said how painful this whole experience has been, how her health is still fragile, so she's taking it easy. And, that her husband, Prince Albert II, has actually been incredibly supportive, and that it's really hard living your life, where little things in your family can be magnified by the media, and that has not been easy for her.
Oh, shame, man. Well, I wish her well as well from my side. There's a lot of people a lot of people with their health issues, and I know it's a bit of a downer, but this week has just also been a very bad week for seeing people who have done so much for various things in South Africa, be it from the entertainment side, from the financial side, or from the wildlife side, like passing away. So Jamie Bartlett, the wonderful actor, who was like all over the stage and screen, and everybody's in shock about his death. Mike Schussler.
Do you know what happened with Jamie?
No, we haven't heard yet. Waiting to hear. And then Tony Fitzjohn as well, who was involved with Lions. I saw that John Varti put up a thing about that. I was interested to see that, of course, John is married to Gillian van
TV
Carlton.
presenter, yeah.
And she's had a major medical issue because I hadn't seen or heard from her for years. So I thought, well, let me just go and check on what she's doing. And I didn't realize how she's been battling with her health as well.
With what specifically? Do you know?
I'd have to go back and have a look again. But
I think it was her birthday a week or two ago. I saw he did he sang for her and did a fantastic.
Yes, it was beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was so lovely to see the pictures of her at the moment. She just still looks absolutely glorious, and everybody's favorite newsreader. Yeah,
Yeah,
she was
that's
great.
so true.
Okay. Okay, so what have we got in the way of local good news then?
Well, we have already mentioned about David Brown helping the students here. Oh, then there's a guy. He was basically discovered when he was 10. He's known. He's a surfer guy, and he's still a teenager. He's known as Surprise. So he goes by the name Surprise, and he is a surprise. I think his full name is Tokozo Mapumulo. And his father was working for a surf company, and the owner, who was a former surf pro himself, noticed how good Surprise was on a skateboard. And their two sons became best friends. And so his son took Surprise out and got him surfing. And Surprise has now, yesterday, headed off to El Salvador to represent South Africa at the World Junior Championships. And
Surprise!
Surprise! And it's so amazing. The day before yesterday, he was swimming in the surf in Durban, and it just came across a protea. Somebody had obviously dropped it off a boat or something, but it seemed quite significant that as he goes to represent South Africa, a king protea falls into his hands that represents South Africa.
That's fairly arbitrary a thing to find in the middle of the ocean, that's for
I
sure.
know. South Africa's national flower. Yeah.
And
That's
South
pretty
Africa's
cool.
hopefully national junior surfing champion soon.
Yeah,
Let's
he's
keep that
already the
going.
KZN champion.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm really hoping. I mean, this guy's got his mind set on dreams. He's got many years ahead to make his
Yeah.
dreams come true. Yeah.
Okay, now what's this is about match officials at FIFA?
Oh, just, obviously South Africa is not going to be playing. However, two South African match officials have been selected for the FIFA World Cup, which is in Qatar later this year. So, well done to Victor Gomez and Zakele Siwela. Pretty good. And that is thanks to Showmax, because until a few years ago, you only got match officials who were from the big urban places, who had the money and were exposed to it. And Showmax has done these sponsorships where they go into the outlying areas and do training sessions and are just bringing sport to everybody and of a national level. So these two guys, it's a Showmax sponsorship that's enabled this. And
Well done, Showmax.
yeah.
Bringing us and talking about Showmax. What have we got in the way of entertainment that's coming up on Showmax?
Well, we've got a trailer that you can watch. It's only coming up on June 23, I think, of Pulse, this new horror TV series, which was filmed in South Africa and Mauritius. The Hollywood Reporter has seen it and say that it's one of the 25 buzziest series for the year. So it is looking good, and it's Showmax and France's Canal Plus who've co-produced it together. So I love all the countries all
Getting together and
mekaring.
helping each other. Help
Yeah,
mekaring. No, I like that. That's a wonderful verb. Well done on that Afrikaans verb, Jenny. I won't be watching it because I'm afraid horror is just definitely something I'm not into, like with big mountains.
I know. Oh, imagine a horror on a big mountain. They did say that one of the actors, who I'm sure you would know, but whose name I forget now. Anyway, he said that he thinks with the pandemic and everything, people had like so much fear inside them that the reason that horror movies are on the rise right now is everybody just needs these horrors to just get all the fear out of them, to just have big fat releases, just release the fear kind of thing.
Yeah,
So it could be right. But
okay.
yeah. And
All right, what else? What will entertain me?
You personally, I know you're not a Tom Cruise fan, but
I'm not a fan.
Okay. Well, Top Gun. I'm not a huge fan of Tom Cruise. However, remember I told you I went last week. I was going to the Rendezvous. Yes. The Rendezvous was divine, and he kind of blew me away with how inspiring he was. You know, you just suddenly want to start taking notes and just making your life, like, you just don't want to watch life when you are with somebody like him. It's just, and he said another thing that I also found interesting. I've interviewed so many people over the years who say, you know, I'm doing this from the heart, and even if it only touches one person, that's all that matters to me. And I always thought how humble and beautiful that was. But actually, I now realize that's kind of egotistical. And Tom Cruise has this totally different opinion where he says, I'm doing it always for the audience. All I'm thinking about is what's the audience going to love. And you can really see it with Top Gun Maverick. It is, you know, even if you don't like action movies, which I don't.
I love them.
Yeah, you know, you'll really love it because you are sitting in the cockpit there. You are on the adventure.
But I'm going to have to get my kids to watch Top Gun, the original Top Gun first before we watch this one.
Yes, and then it'll make it really special. Also watch that Val Kilmer documentary, Val, that's on Netflix, and then watch Top Gun Maverick. It's really special. There's a moment with Val that's amazing.
Because Val's lost his voice or something, hey?
He has anymore. Throat cancer, Yeah, so it's really interesting and beautiful, and he's really cool because it's not about the past movie. This is a whole new, some divine guys. There's lots of eye candy.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah,
I'll definitely be watching it.
It's really good like that. But Val, so they didn't really invite back, apart from Tom Cruise, they didn't invite back any of the previous actors. And Val actually said he's never too proud to beg. So he begged them and he got in. Yeah. And it's so worth it. I'm so glad he did.
Okay. And what is Savage Beauty about?
Well, it's South African and it's on Netflix, and it's about some dark secrets in the beauty world. This family has a beauty empire. It's apparently really good and has been trending in the top 10 around the world. But I started watching it last night, but it was a bit late, and it begins a little bit scarily with blood. But I think once I get past the blood, it'll be good.
So it's not about a pride of lions going and taking out everybody, just a pride of cougars.
No.
Bunch of cougars, possibly. All right. Okay, enough of that. All right, so what have you got coming up? What are you going to be doing in the next week and bringing to SAPeople?
Well, I'm really excited. You know Adrian Ruas, who is the DA Shadow Minister of Home Affairs? Shadow Deputy Minister of Home Affairs. Well, he has just sent us this second, as we were connecting, an article that we will be publishing later today that is about the debate they had in Parliament yesterday, and he's given us the lowdown on the situation and how the DA is now pushing for the situation to improve for South Africans living abroad. You know, while it takes you 2 weeks to get your passport, sometimes shorter, the average time for a South African abroad is now becoming 18 months to 2 years. You know, when it was 6 months, that was bad. It's just incredibly disrespectful. So,
Yeah, no, I mean, as I said, we got ours in less than a week. We got our South African passports sorted.
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, they've also changed a ruling, because when I tried to get my children's ID books, they weren't allowed. This is 2 years ago. They weren't allowed to have smart IDs, because to have a smart ID, even though you were born in South Africa, you had to have one parent who'd been born in South Africa, so they couldn't have them. But when we went to go and apply for the passports, they said, "Oh, well, you can apply for a smart ID as well." So they've changed that now. That if you're born in South Africa, you can get a smart ID.
Okay, good.
No longer
it makes
the green
it
book.
easier for paperwork as well,
No,
or non-paperwork, for digital work.
I'm quite happy with my little green book.
Yeah, I've got my little green book, but some people, when I have young South Africans come here, they don't even recognize it.
No,
They're just
I
so
know.
used to their, yeah.
But then youngsters don't remember a time before television either. So, or computers or cell phones.
Spotify.
Yeah, all those things. But
Yeah.
fortunately, we get to enjoy it, and that's why we can bring this to people all over the world, to people on other sides of the world. Jenni, it's always a pleasure to chat to you. We'll catch up again with you next week, and of course, remember, everybody get onto www. sapeople.com, or pop across to Facebook and go and share your stories, your good news stories, any videos, any pictures that you've taken. I'm sure Jenni would love to see them. And just if you're overseas and you find something interesting, let us know as well. What do you think, Jen? Good idea.
Yes, please. Thanks, Mal. See you next
We'll
week.
catch you with you.